We're now going to have a look at the existing PVG scheme member application. This is for people who have already in the past for other organisations filled in a PVG and have a note of the 16-digit number. Before we start, the main reason that PVG application forms are rejected is because the official is not a registered official within the Scottish Youth FA. So the first question an additional signature should ask is, are you registered with a team or a club within the Scottish Youth FA? Do you have with you the form you received from the system when you were added as an official? This form is not compulsory, but it will help you as an additional signatory to know that this person is registered within the SYFA Association. So ask if they've got the letter. If they haven't got the letter, that does not mean you do not do the PVG. It just means that you have to make sure that the person is registered within the Scottish Youth FA. For those filling in an existing form, they can find their previous PVG number. It's halfway down the certificate on the left-hand side. If you do not have your PVG certificate, you can contact Disclosure Scotland on 03000 2040 and they will give you a note of your 16-digit PVG number. The filling in of this, we start at A1 and it's a scheme record update. This is a scheme record update because we've already done the scheme record and we're now updating it because it's an existing one. We tick children because we are dealing with Scottish Youth FA and children. Are you already a member of the scheme and related to work in A2? The answer would be yes, which is why we are doing the existing form. And the answer to A4 would be no. So we would be scheme record update, children, yes and no. If the person who's filling in this form is also the first aider, they will fill in protected adults as well. Additional signatories, please note it is only the applicant that can tick this box. We go to B1 and B1 is the 16-digit number, normally starting with a 1. We're going to have a problem in the year 2020, but at the moment starting with a 1 because the first two numbers are the year in which the PVG was done. 16-digit number goes in there. Again, we have the Mr, Mrs, Ms or Miss or Doctor, whatever it is, your surname as it is at the moment, and your four names, first name, middle names, and your date of birth. As this is an existing form, most of the other details are already held by Disclosure Scotland. So if everything is exactly the same, are there any changes? You would say no. If the answer is yes, if you've got married or if you've moved house since the last PVG form, on an A4 piece of paper, a big bit of paper, you would write your previous name, the date you got married, your new name, your new address, if it's a new address, on a piece of paper, and that would be put inside this application form and the yes would be ticked. We're coming back again to the regulatory bodies. So if you are a teacher, a social worker, a doctor, dentist, nurse, etc., then you tick yes. If you're not, you tick no. And if you tick yes, the regulatory body numbers are the same ones we had before, and we fill in the registration number there. The bit at the bottom, it's not done at this time by the applicant, but will be signed by the applicant, dated by him after the additional signatory has checked all the information and confirmed identity, etc. Over to the second page of the existing, and in this one here, is applicant in respect of work carried out, voluntary organisation? The answer is yes. And is this PVG to be paid for by a regulatory body? Again is yes. And again, the same as in the other one, we tick registered body invoice. We fill no other details on that page. We can then move on to the third page, and in the third page the answer is no. It's no work is carried out at home. And the organisation is SYFA Limited. Again, it's your team ID number or club ID number and the position applied for. So this would be team secretary, not club secretary. It would be coach with a 1.2 or above, or assistant coach or club coach assistant, goalkeeping coach, club coach coordinator, team helper not club helper, club child wellbeing and protection officer, or club PVG additional signatory, first aider. Notice nowhere on this list is the word official. You cannot use the word official. And remembering, of course, if it's a first aider, we have ticked protected adults on page 1. Again, no more things are filled in there, and that is the form completed by the applicant, and nothing in the form is filled in by the additional signatory. The additional signatory now checks all the information supplied by the applicant and returns to the purple page, and the applicant signs and dates the application. We're now going to move on to the additional signatories part, where they're filling in the record cover sheet. The record cover sheet is filled in by each additional signatory after each meeting. And the important thing here is that if we could put all the applications to join on one form and put all the existing applications on a second form, it means it's easier for Disclosure Scotland, for ourselves, to bundle them up and process them. We have details of here of the name of the person that you've done the PVG form for. Scheme join is a scheme record. So you'd put in here application reference number. Now this is the numbers after the 0 on the application form. So if we bring back an application form, and this is the number up in the top corner, and it's the number after the 00. So this one would be 212696888. So this is the number you would put into that part there. This is the number that goes into the application. We then fill in what we've seen as proof of the person identity. So birth certificate used to be required in the SYFA, it's not now required, but if we do see it, we tick the box. Passport, the new scheme record cover sheet, which is on the right hand side here, has had a change to the column which said other. It now says address confirmation letter, which is no more than 3 months old, and photo ID produced if not the passport or the driving licence held. And if it produces a passport or driving licence, the numbers must be on the form. There's no point having nothing on the form and then saying it was produced as proof of identity. So just to repeat that bit about photographic proof, we need photographic proof of something. So either we see a passport, we see a driving licence with a photograph, or we see some other means of photographic proof of who the person is. So if we get a rail card, or if we get some other form of identity, we have to write in here what we actually see. So that would be a rail card with photograph would go in there if we haven't seen the passport and the driving licence. If we see a driving licence with no photograph, we tick in here as well. We also have to see proof of address within the last 3 months. Now this would be something which has been sent through the post to the person making the application, and could be their community charge number, it could be a letter from the bank, it could be a bank statement, and whatever this is, we fill that in here. So we write in here what we have seen as proof of address. And regulated work with adults, if it's a first aider, we would have to put in a tick in here. If the person has marked the protected adults box in the front page, we would put an X in here as well. And this is the SYFA club or team ID number would go in here so we can trace back to the person. So that's their name. This would be a scheme join or scheme record join. Application is from the top of the form. Birth certificate, if you've seen that, not now required. Passport, The passport, have we seen it? Is it marked in on the sheet? Do we have the required number of letters or numbers for the passport and the driving license? Have we filled in here what we've seen as photographic proof if it's not the driving license and the passport? And this is also the address history, and this would be something with our present address, which is the last 3 months, and that there would be written in there as bank statement, utility bill, whatever it is we've seen that for that person. If they have marked protected adults on the front sheet, we'd mark an X in here as well, and this is the ID number from the page in which they wrote their club ID number. So once we've done all the existing or first time applications, depending on which form you're filling in, down to the bottom or wherever you get to, we turn over the page, and you as the additional signatory would sign it, put in your name and signatory and this date signed here. This would then be sent to the signatory's name would be on the front, so if you put your name in here and your signatory code down here, so we know who has filled in all these forms, and if there are problems we can return it to you to find for you to find out information for us that has been missed at the meeting. Unfortunately, with the new GDPR rules, we are not able to hold these forms, so if the forms have a problem on it, if there's a mistake on it, we have to destroy the form and inform the person we've destroyed their application, and they have to start all over again. So it's really important that we get it right first time. With the names down here, if you then put the forms in the order in which the names are down here, and then you post or hand them in to the Scottish Youth FA at Hampden. Now, it is important that these forms arrive as quickly as possible, especially now that you have to have had your certificate back from the Disclosure Scotland before you can start working. There is now an urgency to get these in. So if you've done a meeting and there's only 4 people at the meeting, then you send in a form with 4 people on it. Don't hold it until you filled the form, because it's holding up the people becoming approved. It's very important now, and the additional signatories are having a more important role in getting people into playing or administering football. Please make sure that there's enough postage on the envelope if you're sending them. It might be an idea if you want to record the envelope. It means that we've got signatories for it, but the important thing is the amount of postage. Better to take it into a post office and ask them to post it for you so they know the amount of money that's going on it. You might get receipted post, which means that someone has to sign for it. The important thing is that we get it, and we get it as quickly as possible. If you don't put enough stamps on the envelope, the post office will not deliver it, because we will not pay the additional postage for envelopes that are not correctly with the correct number of stamps on them. So this is where in the past people keep phoning up and asking, I put a PVG in with Joe Blogs and he posted it away 6 weeks ago and I'm not processed yet. Yes, and that's because we haven't received it. So the big bit is, after having done all the work, having turned up at the meeting, having checked all the information, having filled out the cover sheet, that we actually get it at Hampden so that we can process it. We hope that this video will help the additional signatories to make life a bit easier for the additional signatories, and so that our members can get their PVGs processed as quickly and as efficiently as possible without having to go back and ask for the things that are missing. Just a quick recap. At B1, the PVG number is missing or wrong. That's in an existing form. That means that the 16-digit number is not correct. It doesn't start with a 2 because that's a disclosure number. Please make sure that middle names, if there's any, are there. Mother's maiden name, another common mistake, and town or country of birth and nationality. These are all common mistakes. National insurance number must be filled in. It's 2 letters, 6 numbers and a letter. Can you make sure these are filled in properly? The resident from date, 5 years of history, starting with the one they're in just now and going back in order. So it's their current address, then the one before that, then the one before that.